What's good YouTube? And welcome to the Banlist, continuing to absolutely wreck the market. It is a madhouse, but first I want to shout out a brand new sponsor from the UK, Sparta Card Gaming. The first thing I did when I sat down with them was like, look, you got to do free worldwide shipping, fit it into your logistics, figure it out, and they automatically did. At £80 or above for both sealed and singles, they will ship worldwide, which is a great resource. Duelists down in South America, Australia, they have a lot of problems getting cards, so this is an awesome resource, but do be aware customs can apply. Code What's Good 5 for 5% off and support the channel directly will make cards even cheaper for you all on here, and they already have up Cyberstorm access. You can switch the dollars up here to pounds, to euros, to different currencies, to yen, and they did pre-sales, and I did see when they were live, they were ultra competitive in terms of the sphere. Look at this, $60, $50 on the top end cash Tira spells, which today they're absolutely nuts from the ban list, but they did sell out pre-ban list, but when I started talking, they had some up. And also, I said this should start out at $18 for the Gravekeeper spell, and they started it out just under that, where a lot of people put it up at 30. Now it's towards 14, 13. Again, a lot of cards during pre-sales can end up going down where there are wins. You are gambling when it's pre-sales, you're educated guessing, but even for how insane this card sounds, and I think 13, 14 might start to get a little undervalued, this card, like a lot of people were looking at it during this time and just pricing it on up, they had it right around where I thought they should. So I love seeing those different places have different prices. Again, you have Tier 0 actually winning on the deck core yesterday, though, while the ban list hype was there, and that's what I love to do. I like to work with different people that can bring different deals to the audience. Now, versus today, oh my gosh, $100, $90, I just feel like the top two cards here can't be worth that much, but they really are keeping in pace for cash tier. It's blowing my mind. And the boxes for Photon Hypernova are going up too. It's like lightning in a bottle, though. Keep in mind, this is still pre-sales on TCG Player, meaning it's locked to certain sellers, and the full competition isn't truly there. A lot of people are locked out of being able to list right now. So that's why there's such low listings on a lot of the cards, and it's not the true competition we'll be seeing, but it also means there's people waiting to see that competition and buy, and so many people are dedicated to this deck as the deck to beat within the format, and I do think it's a really good deck, and with the ban list clearing the way, it does seem like it's going to end up that way. You also have a staple-ish card in Triple Tactic Thrust, though. The estimated value pulled for anyone that knows they're in this pre-sale zone is just so crazy to be ripping it and selling it to people right now. Oh my gosh, and the ultra rares are really up there in terms of price too. Like I said, that Gravekeeper card, though, down towards 14. Kind of wild that the Welcome Labyrinth is above there, but people are seeing the ban list clear the way for that deck too. Now, on the copium levels, people are trying to make decks work. We have the Bujinki Link 2 here, going for upwards of $20 into the 30s, full buyout mode, and I gotta say, this is a penny stunk I called forever ago, and it did spike multiple times, we can see on the year graph, thanks to Sprite, but wow, this is an all-time high, and the wild, it has no reprint out of Dual Overload, and people are trying to replace Sprite Elf with that. Now, we also are looking at King of the Swamp for copium and Tearlaments, and trying to make Tearlaments continue to work. I think that deck as either an engine or deck will still exist in some capacity and be topping events, but Super King of the Swamp out of Fusion Enforcers, not even the Hobby League one, spiking back up here heavily, almost towards $20 at 16. People gotta have their hollows, and almost every version of this card was $2 or more heading into this, and there's just not too many recent printings, but it had calmed down over time, and now it's starting to heat back up in that swamp. We have Grand Creators having multiple spikes with, you have the Punk engine and people looking it up even extra. Foxy was already spiking before this, but went even further beyond, and especially the Adventure Token package with Rite of Armaseer around $55+ quickly into the 60s if you're even thinking about a playset. And yeah, people are on this. It didn't get hit on the list, and a lot of people thought if there was a super mega list, maybe they would go into this. I didn't think so because it wasn't played enough, and maybe it will eventually get that way through the TCG if it really does see that much play, but here we see it really going and people thinking I'm going to be using that for this WCQ season. Plunder Patrol's getting some attention a little bit quieter, tons of down quantities and upped prices for the OG versions of these as we approach the Earth ship being around. When will we get the win, the final piece of support? But seriously, people really like this deck and they do mix it with Adventure, is why I put it right here after. Next we have the branded Copium Maybe. I feel like a lot of people are looking for the updates on this heading into the new format, and it does feel like a bit of a dark horse when it comes to the format, but at the same time has so much going for it that I think it could kind of silently take an event like creep up on it. Blazing Cartessia though, way up in price here, 35 quickly 40, as it was, 25-ish heading towards this and starting to just creep up a little bit, so a huge spike. Substitute, if somebody could fill me in on this one, somebody was like, maybe past formats. No, it got unbanned, they swapped Ronin Tonin with it. Get it? Swap Frog. But anyways, it is up here and going pretty dang wild. There's one on limb here, but it's not even English, Korean. Okay, where is the lowest here? There's past $20. What is happening? And first edition here at 20, a really wild price on an old rare. Isolde Collector Rare got bought out. This isn't the biggest surprise to me. I think when people were already in buyout mode pretty much everywhere, Isolde Collector Rare being out of Amazing Defenders was going to mean that this set's not going to continue to be opened en masse. It's already down to $48 a box. It is freaking sad. But with this, I did see this being one of the ones that would go up through the set and be targeted, and here it begins. Also, Ohime got bought out during this. The Mikanko stuff is pretty darn interesting, and now it really has more of a shot with the format being cleared and it being hyped headed into the format of maybe it can do it. Now there's a much bigger maybe there in my mind versus I was like, nah, it's not going to. Now it's like, I see what you're doing. House Dragon made the eternal rivals of Market Watch spiked on up here recently and continued to, and now throughout this, it's up towards $9. All I gotta say is the OCG gave this an alter art and rewaved the original art, and similar to Gold Series, maybe they'll do something where they release both arts together of the cards like they did the Ghost Girls. So you're kind of hoping they don't do that, but if it's all ultra secret, still the highest rarity for this art. So maybe it's a long-term play also of, well, I have the highest rarity OG art to match to the new art, and that could actually be something. It's kind of wild how people play these long-term games. I would think in the immediate, the more easy access would make it go down, but Dragon Maids move very different also when we talk about the market. Servant of Endymion spiked. Of course, the cards directly on the list went crazy haywire, and it's up here towards $6 for its super rare version if you want to play the holo. But yeah, seriously, Pendulum, I remember a lot of quotes that Cash Tier was really good against Pendulum, so it'll be interesting to see how those two decks interact if you are trying it. Incredible Ecclesia on the lower end is starting to go out on quantities of the Ultra. I personally would just get the Prismatic Secret Rare out of the 10s towards $3 as this starts to spike out of Mavens. It's kind of nice, actually, they did so many. That reprint was so good, let's do it again with the 10s and Mavens, even though it took a little bit of value out of the 10s. Like, some of them were definitely needed to prepare in advance, and with Ecclesia here, well, that is a card you want access to for multiple decks, but especially Sword Souls, which had a ton of buyouts heading into this, and you can see 26969 nice on that Starlight Rare lowest. I think they just wanted a Market Watch shout out. True King Lithosagem here is going up, of course, for the super rare. Luckily, we have a Toon Chaos Rare, but that's actually kind of old at this point, so I could see those going over time if this is actually seeing a good amount of play. But if you want a holo, there's also the OG that was also towards buyout mode. Now, not just him, it's Dragonic Diagram, which searches him, ended up going up in price. Also, the Battles of Legend version here spiking up quickly towards $6 here on the front page. I personally would just go for the first Ed OG if I'm spending that kind of money, around $7.50 here on a playset. It quickly does go up from there towards $8, but with the Battles of Legend version actually spiking, Maximum Crisis is a huge set in Yu-Gi-Oh! And first edition secret, this could even be kind of undervalued, although who wants to go back and play True Draco Zoo? You sickos. Then we have Lord of Heavenly Prison. A lot of people are assuming people are just looking at trap deck, this good with traps, and it going up. It doesn't necessarily mix the most with Labyrinth builds, but at the same time, there are a lot of Labyrinth decks that also play. I think it's like one of those things people argue on playing and deciding, but it protects your back row, especially games 2 and 3, from Lightning Storm, so I can see why people would definitely argue for playing it. And I think my builds, I mean, I like to rely on cards like this, gimmicky cards, but it's past a gimmick. It's really freaking good. That's why I put it on the penny stonk watch in terms of the OG one. $8 for the OG secret. Honestly, for stun cards like that, it's a decent price, but I'd still get the Prismatic Secret Rare. I just like how it looks more. Aratama went up, and this is just because new Spirit Monsters got support, and it's actually the same kind of card as this, but this only has one printing and went crazy. Also, maybe lost out of people's memories, Nikitama is over here not really spiking, but getting sales rates, so be aware if you're buying, cards like this, maybe get the whole package together, but only one printing. I assume these will be OTS candidates around the time we get that set, and that I would hope they're on Konami's reprint radar, but they don't always get everything. But yeah, wild that these only have one printing. Shadow Specters always could have used some value, and then Legacy of the Valiant for Nikitama. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. Again, shoutouts, go check out Sparta Card Gaming. I really like what they're doing in terms of looking towards pre-sales, and in the future, I want to see that up competition versus Tier 0, versus also you have Yu-Gi-Oh! Daily hopefully back in the mix once they get their shop, and of course Gamer's Choice. I like it when we have more competition in the community, more vendors to hold each other honest and really try to make those sales and then look good after everything's said and done. Although this time I'm gonna wag my finger and say just a little, I think the ban list over helped the vendors look good on this one, because oh gosh, yeah. But Tier 0, seriously, big shout outs to them for that move they did yesterday. They didn't have to, and they straight up did really, really gracious pricing.